the button.
There it goes.
Yeah.
Would you switch sides on me?
Yes. I did it because I forgot to set my camera, um, the horizontal on it. I was kind of wondering why I was getting vertigo every time I looked at the screen. And I had my camera flipped horizontally. And it didn't look right me, excuse me, staring off to the left of the screen. I gave us some happier icons at the bottom too. Little changes, little subtle changes.
I see. For some reason, I'm buffering though. I don't know what the hell the deal is. There it goes.
Everything's good on my end as far as I can see. I'm looking at the.
No, it's probably my end. I blame myself.
I'm looking at the bandwidth and everything like that, and everything's just about 100%. So. Hey, Bolos.
What's up?
What time is it where you're at right now? Yeah, we're gonna try altering some of these streams throughout different times of the day throughout the week. Oh, what country are you in? Yeah, gonna work in, maybe even stream every day for a few hours, especially for the Facebook people that want some help. Australia. Yeah, as you can see in the chat announcement, they're going to label the dailies as the daily dose. Try to work up kind of a somewhat set schedule for doing it, but throughout the week I'm going to change it up time-wise a little bit to make it a little bit easier on people in different parts of the world, because I know not everybody's up right now. I mean, in Australia it's barely coffee time for you guys right now, and here in the US it's Eastern Standard Time. It's around 7 p.m. And in China, I let the artillery folks know, we might see some of the artillery people stopping in. It's about 7 a.m. there right now, 12-hour difference for me. So.
I don't know, my chat isn't loading for some reason. Ugh, it's annoying.
Bolos is asking if you're going to do a how-to guide for changing to the SKR 1.4. And what steppers did you use?
I got the 1.3, so, and I used the 2209s. So I bought in before they came out with the newer boards. And I don't know, it's almost like a guide now would be kind of... I mean, I did an overview and I glossed over it because, honestly, there's a bunch of people that do it way better than I do it. But understand, I mean, it's pretty much a swap. That's how I approached it. So I'm trying to read the chat off of another device because it's not working on this big screen here for some reason. It really don't make a difference upgrading? No. I wish this chat would load so I could see you asking questions better, but anyway. It's pretty much the same overall, and actually I skipped trying to upload Marlin via the USB. I went with the SD card, which is a heck of a lot faster using a hex file. So that was the easier way of getting it done. Why is this not connecting to the chat? It's annoying me. I mean, it's pretty straightforward to do the upgrade. So what I did was I took a picture of where everything was at on my original board, and then I actually lined up the new board and just swapped the cables over where they're supposed to go for the most part. The only thing that doesn't transfer over is the LEDs. You have to figure out if you want to even use them. And if you do, the only place on the 1.3 was the, I want to say it was the auxiliary 1 or EXP1 port. You could play with the pins, but then it still doesn't work quite right. I'm working on doing a pixel LED if I ever get off my butt and get my soldering done.
Attack of the bots in chat right now.
Yeah, the only, like I said, the problem is for some reason the chat here on my main screen isn't working. I can see our feed, but I can't. The chat isn't loading. I don't know why.
Normally make sure it's hitting both on the other end. I'll be right back.
Okay. I just pop the dock out. Maybe that'll work. I quit using Octolapse because of the fact that it did two things I didn't like. One, it didn't like to play nice with the artillery for whatever reason, I'm not sure. And the other reason was when it did work, it would pause and make your print take twice as long, because if you set it to like record at a certain height or any of that stuff, it would stop your prints and it takes longer to get your prints done. A lot of times with the volcano hot end, it screws up because it's still oozing because it like extrudes filament so fast. That it isn't worth using it. I went back to using time lapse, and then I timed it so that way it didn't stop the print, it didn't screw with nothing, because for some reason that, like I said, it just stops things and it doesn't work right. What's up, Tricky? I have yet to figure out a good way to use Octolapse, so I just quit using it altogether. Because even on my enders, it would like increase my print time. It was like I'm better off just setting up like a GoPro and running it that way, because it gets annoying when you're extending your print time trying to get pictures. I mean, I think they were fun for about maybe a week. And then everybody started doing them and posting them, and no one wants to watch them. So it's like, okay. My biggest thing I use Octoprint for is be able to put it from a computer here and send it to any of my printers that I'm running. So that's not what the shot I wanted. There we go. So any of these guys I'm running, I can send a file to and not have to worry. That was my big thing with the Octoprint. And then I can do, if I want, like I'm recording something special, I can just use the regular time lapse and it doesn't interfere with the print time. I currently have 6 printers. I have 4.5 working. Well, you can run when I was starting out with my X1, I was running in around 100 because of the fact that you're running a much more hungry hot end, if you want to put it that way. It needs to be fed faster. So for you to get the nicer prints, you want to be going at least a higher speed. With the enders, I was running, I want to say 80 because the hot end's a little bit slower. It's the Creality style. So that's how I ran my prints. Now that I've upgraded both of my printers and including both of my enders, I run my X1s at 120, and then I run the enders at like 100 because because the hot end doesn't catch up fast enough. Yeah, they're all FDM. I'm eventually gonna get a resin one, but maybe when the stimulus arrives, who knows? Honestly, I liked the Enders originally. I haven't gotten my hands on one yet. I want to get my hands on a Genius because a Genius is actually in essence an X1 but on a smaller scale. And to me, the X1 was everything I wanted in a printer when I had gotten my Enders. So that's where I'm at with it.
All happy and kosher on those ends.
Oh, very good. Oh, I like doing the streams. I like talking to guys directly and getting the questions because sometimes it's like trying to text you out or give you a paragraph on what to do is really hard. No, the enders aren't direct drive. I can run them at 100 with the regular Bowden style. I changed some of the settings around a little bit, but it does a nice print still at this speed. I wouldn't try any faster, but like I said, on the X1, you got to learn, especially if you're coming from a Bowden style machine, you got to learn to go faster because if you don't, you get weird prints. That's why a lot of the guys think they're getting Z banding, and it's actually they're not running the printer fast enough, in my opinion. I don't know how you feel about it, Earl.
Oh, speeds? I'm catching up on chat right now. I'm just looking through everything.
I'm just the Volcano likes to run fast, and I think when these guys get these printers and they get the standard settings and they run them at 50 or 60 or 70 like they do with the normal Bowden style ones, that's why they're getting layer lines because it's going so much extrusion through that Volcano that you're getting those layer lines.
Well, the ones that are in the lab cam right now, those two are running at about 50. That's because
Okay.
I'm doing a couple of prototypes. But I I may be an exception to the rule. I can run any speed. It doesn't matter. Um, um, that's a whole new topic for discussion right there.
Well, no, I know. What I'm saying is like when they get the stock printer, they get the stock speed at 50. You've adjusted things and made it work, and you're doing like what your tiles. I want to say
These
fine
are
detail.
yeah, these are the pieces that are on the machines right now. They're high detail pieces, so everything's dialed down.
Right, because I'm like talking when these guys get the cube and stuff, and they start doing like the XYZ cube or things like that, and they're doing it at 50 with just basic settings. You tend to get that squishy looking layer line because it's going too slow for that machine because it's feeding constantly.
Well, that's also where people run or encounter situationally the issues with under extrusion at times too. Um, they'll kick the speeds up, but they won't take any of the flow rate into consideration as well.
Right.
Oh, somebody dared ask how many printers we got?
As me, I think you were away. I'm
Yeah,
sure you have a
yeah,
lot more than I got.
yeah. Actively in the lab, there's about 18. At worst, when it really got crazy, I was running about 30, uh, 30 plus at a time. Over the span of the whole life in the labs, there's been well over 100 printers. As far as actually running all at one time, when it started getting up into like 22, 23, 24 printers at a time, it was too crazy. I wasn't actively doing this for business either. So I've got it dialed back. I've got about active printers that I'm running on a pretty regular basis, under 10. It's also the time of the year too. As soon as it starts warming up just a little bit more, probably have more printers running. So a lot of the work that I do is related to the profiling and the tech support type of stuff that I'm doing for you guys. So a little bit closer to summer, when I start doing the streaming sessions on things like modeling, airbrushing the models and things like that, there's a few more avenues that I'm going to be going through, and you'll be seeing a lot more of those printers running on a pretty regular basis because I'll need to.
As far as a hot end upgrade for PETG, I don't think you need to run PETG that hot. I mean, you can get away with 240.
Yeah, a lot of the PETGs you can get by with like 230, 235, and there are people that are running them all the time and not having any issues. The thing you gotta, the thing you gotta remember. Oh, thanks, Beltane. Hey, that's Trent. I know who that is. the the temperatures reported on your LCD versus the temperatures that you're putting into your slicers and things like that, they're not always going to jive 100%, and that's true for all printers. You can kind of relatively get them close, but if you have access to some pretty good digital thermal hardware, you'll actually see that a lot of the temperatures that we work with aren't dead on. That is my front door. Hang on for a minute. That's a rarity. I gotta pull the shot. I gotta pull the shotgun
Not here.
out. Yeah, I gotta pull the shotgun out because it might be zombies. I'll be right back.
But yeah, I mean, you can get away with the Bowden tube and PETG. You just have to keep an eye on it. So my big thing when I first started and I didn't go all metal was I got some cap tubing because that's rated at about 265, right around there. It's pushing it, but you can get a little bit hotter with the cap tubing in the lower PTFE portion of your direct drive, and it was printing nice for me that way. I mean, granted, it's nice to upgrade the hot end, but and now it depends on what version you have now too. You got to keep an eye on that too. Make sure before you go ordering anything, if you have one of the newer versions, you make sure you have a threaded or not threaded. And there's there's two little grub screws once you take the fan and the heatsink off. If you have two little grub screws holding your heatsink in, it's a Kraken style and it's not threaded. So keep that in mind. Because you don't want to order a threaded one and then have the Kraken one and not being able to put it in. Because that's a real big annoyance when you get everything apart and you're all excited to put something together and you're like, yeah, I got it, I'm ready to go. And then you pull it apart and you're like, nope, I got to wait in the part now. So keep that in mind. Check the side of your like I said, take off your cooling fan and your heat sink. If you have two grub screws, you have a Kraken style, so you have to make sure you order the right heat break.
Shameless plug for Domino's, man. I forgot my engineer Ed, partner in crime here, ordered some pizzas. I completely forgot about it, so yay.
Hey, food.
Screw social distancing.
I'm not good at answering the under extrusion things. That's more your calibration style there, Earl. So I never had to really dial anything down with mine. They worked stock for me. I don't know why.
How do you manage tolerances? Tricky, I have not had to calibrate any extruder on any of the artilleries since day one, and this is going back to June 1st. With I'm not slapping a label on my profiles. I'll get my camera back up in a second, folks. I'm stuffing my face with pizza right now. the, I'm not plugging my profiles, but the profiles as I release them have been working 99% of the time for just about any scenario that I've encountered, whether I'm running fast or running slow, and regardless of the model. Now, digging deeper and further into the profiles, you'll see that I have stock. The extrusion multipliers are usually set somewhere between 96 and 98 usually, and that usually compensates for the default extrusion that the artilleries are set at. It's just been working. The other scenario, or something that can affect extrusion, is going to be your temperature and the filament that you're using. There are some filaments out there that are just, sorry folks, they're just outright junk.
Yep.
And I never, I have sample-wise, I've got probably well over 200 different brands here, 2 different types of filament. As far as brands that I run on a regular basis for production, prototyping, and being reliable, there's only a few that I use because I get consistent results from them all the time, and they're not the most expensive either.
Yeah, and when you buy the cheap stuff, the big thing, like I've seen people do, and it comes out of size. If you get the cheaper stuff, it's not going to be the 1.75. It's gonna vary a lot, and then you're gonna have problems like clogging, weird layer lines, all that stuff. So you're better off just buying some good quality filament.
Hey, Hobby Howie, the lab cam is at the Nexus here. Nope, there's no filament holders on the printers. I do not and will not put a filament holder on top of any printer.
I'm bad because I have nowhere to put them, so they're on top of my printers. Throw me under the bus. There you go.
No, some people get by with it.
It's the way it's going to have to be for now, the way my room's set up. So
sometimes I have, and you really can't see it. One of these days, I'll give people a grand tour of this stuff.
Now, I did on my one printer put the supports on it. So I have the gantry supports. So it does make it stabler, believe it or not. And there's a whole bunch of free ones out there that you can use that are printable, and then you use you can use a set of rods or even the carbon fiber tubes, just to more or less make it more rigid, and that works really well. Especially if you're gonna put the spool on top. I got the one. I don't know. I don't have a good view of it on my camera, so. But I bought on a sale. I bought the BD 3D Customs. He had a setup for it. I bought that, and it actually does work. But then I know there are a couple out there that did it the opposite direction. His goes in front, and everyone else went to the rear with theirs, and those work just as well too.
Bolos, why won't I? There are times when, again, I'm moving printers around all the time. There may be 10 going at a time, And if you've ever been working on a printer next to another printer that has an active print on it, and say, for example, accidentally bumped a spool off of one printer and had it land on another printer, so on and so forth, there's
Yep.
all sorts of reasons in addition to the stability thing for taking those off of the printers.
See, the lab cams are Earl's. They're not mine. Mine actually have the spool holders on top because I have nowhere else to put them right now. If I did, I'd get them off. I would get them off the gantry because any type of, especially when we start getting higher, any type of swaying or motion is going to show up in your prints. Well, lucky when we were streaming last night because I went through a lot of cussing. My wife and kids all kind of went to the other side of the house because I had nothing but epic failure on every print I was putting up. I don't know why. It's just one of those nights. Yeah, you're real simple because you know what? I live in Chicago and we have the best pizza, so I wouldn't even touch Domino's. Oh my God! You don't put pineapple on pizza?
Oh, my mic was off. I didn't want people hearing me munching. Shameless plug for Domino's Pizza. Um, Pepperoni, ham, and double cheese.
It's not
Oh,
real pizza.
thanks for letting me know that my mic was off. Like I said, I didn't want you guys hearing me munch.
I actually live on the south side, so Palermo's. That's one of the best pizzas out there. Just saying. That's my shameless plug. And just so everybody's aware who's not from Chicago, the deep dish pizza is not the standard pizza, okay? That's like a special night out, you get a deep dish pizza. Generally, we have a thin crust pizza. I lived in Riverdale.
Hey, Bellatane.
It's 7:29 p.m.
Oh, Alexa thought I asked her a question.
Races for the frame. Let me see if I can find something really quick to throw up.
Bleh, bleh. Oh, not
Because
that
I
kind
know
of throw up.
Earl doesn't even bother with that stuff, but I do because I'm always modding my printers for whatever reason.
I mod my printers too, just not the same kind that everybody else does.
Yeah, you printed out side covers. Ooh.
Hey, if you look really close,
I'm just teasing you.
there are some awesome fan ducts on there that don't give me any shit. You'll notice that they're also 50/20 fans.
See, I don't need that kind of power for my fans. I'm actually turning my fans down on the stock.
Well, they're only at maximum. They're only running at 50%.
Okay. Then what's the point of getting the big fans?
Because I can bridge all the way from one corner to the next. It's a matter. It's a matter of blowing air. That's a dual duct.
That's what she said. Anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's
Had to go there.
It's a dual duct, and I'm really picky about where the air is going on the parts. And that's just my experience with it. As far as other mods go, I mean, you can barely see it. I've also got the first release cable strain reliefs. That's yet another reason why I have not burnt a single ribbon out since June of last year on any of these printers. It's not just those two that you're looking at there.
I cannot for the life of me find a picture of the supports that I can throw up.
Well,
I guess so many pictures of everything else.
trouble getting prints to stick. Barney Blood. Well, let me break down, and this comes up just about every stream. Uh, People often ask, well, what do you have on your bed? How come your beds are so shiny? That is the 1 millimeter PEI that I use. I put that on every printer that's here. That solves almost all adhesion issues right out the door. Second is Barney Blood, which is basically purple glue stick that has been watered down so that you can brush it on with a brush. That is used in the event of printing with PETG, or once in a great while I'll get like a super thin or wispy print that has almost no footprint on the build plate, but I'm kind of dangerous. I like to live dangerous like that. So I'll actually use a little bit of that to make sure that the print stays down. After that, no adhesion problems. Level your bed, get that good first layer going, and a good build surface that doesn't freak out when the ambient temperature changes, and you'll be good every time. So, moss tracing, 1 millimeter PEI. Let me get a link for you guys. I get everything through Amazon. Gizmo Dorks has a 1 millimeter, and for the sidewinders, I'll put a link up real quick if you guys give me just a second here. Poof. I'll get that pulled up for you.
Right now, this is the best picture I have. And I don't know if it's going to show up in your browser the right way, so give me a second. See if that works. I'm going to wait for the delay to try and make it work. If you notice, I have 2 additional uprights on either side that tie into the main brace. So that keeps it fairly sturdy. I'm not sure if you can see it that clearly or not, but that's how I roll with mine. On one. The other one I haven't put a brace on yet. But that takes a lot of the slop out of it.
Okay, that link was for the sidewinders, and I'm going to put one up for the Geniuses too, for the people that have the Genius printers.
Yeah, you don't have to spend a lot of money for the braces. Like I said, there's a couple of good options. And I know that a couple of guys have posted their test ones, which do work. I just didn't have... it was designed for carbon fiber, and I didn't have them. And I couldn't get them from Amazon with all the fun we had, so... But once I get those, it'll be on my other machine, because it does need bracing, especially when I put a 10-pound roll up top. Which you should never do. Just putting that out there. Don't ever put a 10-pound roll on top of your gantry.
There you go, folks. There's a link also for the Genius. You'll get me back on cam in a minute. I'm slamming some more pizza real quick.
Oh, I don't know why my browser's acting so funny on this. I know why. I know why.
Well, tell us.
I got my VPN up. I was double encoding my transmissions. I'm like, why is it acting so funny today? Because I have my security up. Oops. I'm like, what's going on with this feed? It's normally runs so well.
Yeah, if you guys get a chance to, if you haven't liked or followed the channels on Twitch, please do so. What glue? Oh, that is Elmer's glue stick. It's the purple one. It's water washable. That's kind of why I coined the term Barney blood. I'm twisted like that. Real quick here, I'll somebody else asked about that a little while ago too.
You and that Barney blood. I just use a little bit of Aquanet hairspray and I'm good.
Well, the only reason I don't go with things like hairspray or anything like that is water washable. And if you've ever, again, when you have 10, 15, 20, 30 printers, spray hairspray on 10, 15, or 20 different build plates. Over time, your room starts developing acrylic spider webs. You start getting acrylic spider webs in all of your printer parts. Well, yeah, we talked about this before too. The maintenance on a weekly level. Some people like the dry PTFE lubricant. Yeah, Taz is one. Other people like things like lithium grease and things like that. I'm a lithium grease kind of guy, but the printers, you know, there is an issue with dust building up.
Right.
I put all the printers through a weekly maintenance routine, and that involves wiping them down and cleaning them. It's just like running shop equipment, you know, whether you're doing like CNC or mills or things like that. It's just a habit that I've had for all these years. I've never deviated from it, and it gives me an excuse to look over all the printers and look over how everything's doing.
Well, now, I'm going to say when I do my hairspray, and normally when I'm not in a hurry trying to bump out all kinds of prints, because it's still a hobby for me for the most part, I actually use a piece of cardboard and block off where I'm spraying because I don't want to get it on everything else on the printer, which I understand. But I take my time with it, and I don't keep it on for more than 3 prints. I usually clean off really well with soap and water. Maybe shoot it with some Windex, get any residual off, and then a final with some isopropyl alcohol just to keep it nice and clean. And then I'll put another dusting on there. Like I said, with the cardboard blocking all my other sensitive equipment, because I don't want overspray over everything either. I get it. Fortunately, I have the 2 glass beds, the original ones. I have a V1 and a V2, so I have the nice, beautiful black glass with the chrome logo in the center, which is one of the reasons I bought the printers. No, I know what you're saying, but like I said, I keep it pretty clean. So
There's the
obviously you're not spraying it 45 blocks away, and you know you're not doing your big hair for the day with the spray. A little bit of common sense goes a long way.
Mouse tracing, the PEI sheet, it comes with, via the links that I gave you guys, it comes with a adhesive sheet. You clean off your original bed, whether you have the old original glass ones like we do here, or the new composites, clean them off really well.
You're starting to talk me into this too. I don't know. You're gonna make me spend more money.
Well, they're $20, and you don't have to worry about replacing them. They're not consumable like the flexible sheets, which um, I'm going to make some people pretty grumpy about that. The flexible sheets to me just outright suck because I have no problem or no issue destroying them. Um, the sheer amount of printing that we do and everything like that, I can fit a year's worth of printing for some of the average people out there into a month, a month or two here. So I run them through the ringers, and some of the flexible sheet systems out there, the steel spring sheets, some of them are better than others, but they all have an inherent flaw, and that is over time, when you're flexing these things back and forth, PEI, after it goes through repeated heating cycles, it will get brittle, especially if it's thinner. If you do the maintenance that you're supposed to with some of the PEIs out there, here's a clincher. There's a Elmer's glue stick, by the way, just for the people that were interested in seeing that. The thin PEI sheets on the metal plates or metal spring steel sheets, part of the regular maintenance for PEI over time is periodically kind of touching them up or refreshing them with acetone. Some of the steel sheet flexible steel sheet brands out there don't take very well to acetone. There are different types of PEI grades and qualities. That's my understanding. That's what I've been told. I have no reason to believe otherwise. There are some formulas of PEI that will soften with acetone, and there are others that won't. This stuff right here, like what I have linked in the chat here, I've been using that stuff for close to 5 years now, and these sheets look exactly like the day they were purchased, barring a couple few, minor scratches and things like that from me using katanas on them and things like that. Once in a great while, the only thing with these, if you run PEI, PETG, I'm sorry, you do need to put a release agent down. There's some people that are claiming that you don't. If you've ever had PETG fuse to PEI, you'll take the precaution. It's just not a pleasant thing.
So is that why you're putting the glue on it then? As the release agent?
Yeah, that's actually where I came up with the Barney blood thing. Otherwise, for small parts, as an example, the printers that are going right now on the Labcam, those have got just a couple of small prototypes on them. If they were funky, I just use a glue stick. You don't have to run the glue stick underneath the whole part. Usually just a couple of lines that will land in each corner or across, say it's the shape of a box. Just you got a line running across the front end and the back end, that's usually fine. That's all you need. In the event of printing with PETG, that's actually where you dip it into a soft bristle brush, like a foam brush or something like that, and I'll actually go over the whole bed with it. Nice thing about it is once the print's done, it's water washable. Prepping the PEI, no, you don't have to do a darn thing to it, Bullos. On the older or earlier Prusas, like the MK2s, they used to, and we even used to recommend scuffing them up a little bit with like a Scotch-Brite pad or something like that. Don't do that. You do create a somewhat matte finish But again, you're giving your filament something to actually fuse to, and you don't want that. The PEI, super shiny as it is, you can see just looking at the printers right now, they look like they're printing on a mirror practically. Prints don't come off. Right now I can walk in there with an air conditioner, fire the air conditioner up, or put a fan right on that build plate and shoot it right at those build plates, and those prints won't lift, they won't warp, they won't do nothing.
Yeah, it's my weak UPS. Sorry. I thought I was going to be smart and I bought a UPS and then I put too much on it.
Hey everybody, like, follow, and subscribe so I can open up the perks and everything like that, and we can buy Taz a quiet power supply. Ah. the, no, corn-fed, the PEI will help a little bit with bed leveling, but not much. I mean, it's not a squishy surface, but it's a little bit more forgiving than just the composite, whatever this stuff is that these printer manufacturers are putting on their beds now. It helps a little bit, but not much. Those printers, as you're looking, those two have the original glass beds, which were almost perfectly flat to begin with. I have since done mesh bed leveling through shameless plug, the firmware that I released. I've done mesh bed leveling on those, even though I really didn't need it. But now those printers in particular are able to print at 0.08 layer heights, and I don't have to worry about adhesion on the first layer or anything like that. I've got it that close. So those are currently, pretty sure those right now are printing at 0.12 layer height right now. Pardon me just for a second here, folks.
So he's asking me about the profiles on the Z-Hop with the Prusa slicer that I don't use. So I don't know.
Prusa slicer profile is regular and Z-Hop. Z-Hop? Finishing that piece of pizza there. Hey, I gotta eat too.
Wait, mine's getting done. I gotta wait.
Z-Hop is there to print better. And the reason I say that, or what it does, is when it's finished doing a layer, it'll lift up so that you don't drag across the print. It does it at layer changes, and in some situations you can modify if it'll do it at the end of every perimeter. The tweaks that you typically need to play with if you do not have a good profile that you're working with, or one that you are making yourself, is you have to take into consideration the print temperature so that you're not getting any stringing. You also have to take into consideration your infill speeds and your retraction. When you have all of these working together in concert, having something like Z-Hop is just a thing to give you better prints, for the lack of a better way of saying it. Yeah, that's tricky. That's exactly what Z-Hop is. That's, it's a hop at layer change, and in some cases perimeter changes and things like that. Hobby Howie, the two versions of the Sidewinders that you are looking at right there. Those are version 2 and version 3. Version 2 is on the left and version 3 is on the right. You'll notice there's no reset buttons there.
Which is an unneeded feature, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I have them on the other artilleries here, and I've never pressed them.
Well, I mean, they do have a reset button on the inside on 1 and 2. You just have to pop the case to get to it. But I've never had to use it, so it's like, okay. And I don't agree with those guys talking about holding the reset button when they're doing the firmware upgrades. I think that's a bad idea. Just unplug it.
I have had the engineers tell me that that is not what it's for.
It's not a good idea.
More than one user have used those reset buttons to try to flash the firmware. And there's a delay. You can try holding the button the whole time. If you're not holding it the whole time, or if you don't have somebody helping you. If it happens to pop open during the firmware flash, you can put yourself into what I would consider a semi or a quasi bricked state.
Right.
I've already seen it happen once or twice, so it's just like, you guys are getting into these 3D printers. You're going to have to learn to do maintenance on them. You're going to have to learn to fix them. They're never going to be a 100% working machine out of the box that you never have to touch and you just tell it to print and you're done. They're never going to be that. It's not difficult flashing the firmware. It's not difficult opening up the bottom of the case. The biggest piece of advice that I could give anybody, I mean, my 10-year-old has done it, okay, without ever having even played with screwdrivers in his life or anything like that. My 10-year-old was able to do it just with a little bit of advice. The biggest one is take your time. Most of you have phones with cameras on them. Before you start doing things, take a picture. Yep. Take a picture of all the wires, all the connections, and everything like that, and that will solve almost most of the problems that we encounter in support and things like that. There's people that, well, I just did the firmware upgrade and I went to turn it on and I don't have my LCD display isn't showing anything.
Because you plugged it in wrong.
You plugged it in wrong. Artillery, as well as most of the other printer manufacturers out there, get a little overzealous with the hot glue on connections.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, in the event of a stepper burning out or something like that, you are going to have to learn how to take hot glue off. You might as well, considering how things are set up inside of the artillery machines, you might as well learn with doing something simple like flashing the firmware. The benefits from flashing the firmware are so far outweigh the little bit of grief and the time that you're going to take learning to do it right. Do it right the first time. Bolos, the warranty stickers don't mean anything. They don't mean anything anywhere. That's just a technicality.
It's not legally enforceable in the U.S., that's for certain.
And most other places in the world.
Right. And the thing is what you have to understand is they got that on there, and it's more or less to try and keep people from messing with stuff, like modifying. If you don't modify anything inside the case, if you're doing a basic repair or you're doing a basic firmware upgrade because you have to remove the TFT, that's not going to void your warranty. I mean, if you're not 100% sure, you can always send a message through their, for their support and get their permission, because they're more than cordial enough to say, yeah, sure, go ahead. as long as you're not modifying anything inside there, they're still gonna cover you.
I was tracing a lot of a lot of crap filaments. What are my 3 favorite brands? I have more than 3, but the ones that I use almost all the time when I don't want to put up with any shit is going to be eSun. Their PLA Plus still comes in or runs at about 20 or 22 bucks a spool. That stuff has never ever disappointed. I've gone through tens of dozens of hundreds of spools over the years, and I think during that whole time I've only gotten 1 or 2 that had issues, and that was a winding issue. As far as consistent formula, repeatable results and everything like that, it rocks. Lately, Sunlu has been pretty good. Their plus, their pluses have been a little varying, I guess, in color, but not by much. Now, most of the stuff that I print, I work with a lot of gray. I'm not a color guy. I don't buy up like tons of yellow, tons of red and blue and stuff like that. Because of the modeling that I do and stuff like that, it's almost always black, gray, or some variable shade of brown. Sunlu's been pretty consistent as far as the quality goes, but I seem to have better results with just their straight stuff as opposed to their PLA Plus. And people are probably going to giggle. I freaked myself out with this. Overture sent me a stack to play with, and this is Overture was not too long ago, was kind of up and coming. They sent me a stack of filament to play with, and I was really surprised. At first it's packaging and stuff like that. I figured it's like this is just like a rebrand of Amazon Basics or Amazon Basics or Hatchbox. It seems to be a filament on its own, and the black especially is it's almost like a matte finish. So those $30. Oh, hey Taz, I'm coming through on your computer, I think. I'll try again. Okay. Hey, does anybody have a dart? Doink.
Oh yeah.
Bulos, that is one piece of grief that I do have. I have got so many empty spools laying around here. There you go. I was gonna make that suggestion right there, and for the people that want to get into doing that, that's awesome.
I even put it on a Lazy Susan. So you put another one on top of it, another box.
Are those stackable?
Yeah, I got the little stack.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So then they just go on top of each other, and then you have the extra boxes for all your junk you're going to wind up accumulating when you take apart these printers.
There's a good example right there then.
You guys are trying to dart me in the butt. What's wrong with you people?
Hey, it's live, man. I'm not cutting it out of the stream either, so I don't know.
Well, I didn't want to. I wanted to grab it really quick, and I didn't want to have to switch cameras. So I was like, oh, I'll just grab it.
Maybe.
You like my ass, so stop it.
Maybe I'll go back through and edit the video and put like a target on it or something.
But yeah, other than that, they usually wind up going in the bin, unfortunately. I've used them for rewinding my paracord and excess wire I have laying around too, because sometimes you get like long wire you need to get rid of and put away somewhere, but you don't want to throw it out or wrap it up and get it all, so I'll roll it up on a spool. That's kind of what I do with mine, but a lot of them wind up in the bin, unfortunately. My modeling that I do is 24th and 18th scale squad cars for different departments. That's kind of the modeling I do for the most part. So I'll do the graphics and do all that stuff. And then since I've had the printers, now I make like the push bars, the different equipment that goes inside the cars that the guys like to see in there when they have their toys, like the computers and stuff. So I'll make all of that now. I don't have to order it special anymore. I just print it up, which is nice.
Be right back, folks. Refreshing the coffee.
Yeah, some of your settings are going to, I mean, every printer is going to have a little bit of a nuance to it. So most of those settings are kind of generalized. And you have to kind of watch what your printer's doing to kind of get a feel for it. So that's why you start adjusting your jerk and travel settings. Because if you're starting to get sway in your gantry, it's going to be a problem. Like I said, fortunately, I wound up putting braces on, and I actually can just leave it as is, which is nice. Now, my other unsupported one, which is right behind me here, which you can't see, I don't think because the camera's out of view, but that one, I don't go too high because it still kind of rocks back and forth. But yeah, dialing it in for yourself is the best way to do it. I mean, there's no right or wrong answer on that, because even though they're the same printer, there's going to be generally accepted terms, but what you're getting from your table, where you have it, your residence you're getting from it, it's all going to be different for everybody. So you got to kind of that's where you got to kind of look at it and work your way into it. Hi. Okay. Give me 1 sec. I'll be right back, guys. Sorry, she says hello. But I'm coming up on my dinner time too, so it's kind of the way it works.
One more question.
Yeah, what's that?
How do you want your tacos? You want it the American way with lettuce, cheese, and tomato, or you want it the new way with onion and cilantro?
Authentic, thank you.
Onions and cilantro?
Yes, that's the way I like it.
Got it. Me too, baby.
At least she takes care of me. I get,
Oh, there we go. Much better.
But that's like guys putting tools on these machines. That bothers me too, because you don't understand. You get that resonating, even though you could have the gantry tied to the wall. You put a set of tools on there, like on a holder or anything, and it's gonna rock back and forth, and you're gonna see it in your prints. I don't care what anybody says. That you're gonna see. I mean, I think we all fell down that rabbit hole when we're starting out, but I don't put nothing on my printers that doesn't need to be there. Tools can sit off on the bench somewhere so you're not droning into your prints. There's enough going on that you don't want that.
Coffee break and wife questions for our hosts.
Yeah, my wife was asking me about my dinner.
Oh,
Because it's Taco Tuesday.
oh, corn-fed, the dampeners. We had them printable for the Prusas, you know, going all the way back to the MK2s. Those will actually introduce artifacts too. You're better off putting a mat under the whole thing, and that's it. Chan loves making stuff and everything, and you know nobody's shooting him down for that or anything like that. But those foot dampeners are useless.
Well, yeah, they actually create more havoc.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a cool idea. It's just not going to function.
Oh, hey, hey, Talon, thank you. That's my son in Hawaii, actually.
Cool. I mean, I've always laughed when they put them on the big racket balls. It's like, you think that's not going to rock? It's going to rock worse. Because now you're shifting all kinds of weight onto little tiny balls that are rubberized. It's not going to hold nothing.
Yeah, Corn, go ahead. Go ahead and put that image up, and I'll pull it up in the.
On Discord?
Yeah, I'll pull it up in Discord here.
Hey, you never answered my question on Discord either.
Oh, Pink Floyd.
Yeah, when you're coming out with the Pink Floyd one.
Yeah, I seen it. I just didn't get a chance to.
You're just ignoring me. I know, it's okay.
No,
Friggin' Taz, always asking stupid questions. I know. It's okay.
I was busy this morning. I was doing everything necessary to get this really cool stream going.
No, I know. I'm just kidding around. I just thought it was funny because it looked like, to me, it looked like the Pink Floyd. The one looked like Pink Floyd to me. I don't know why. And the only thing that worries me about the mats, you're going to have to cut a channel out of the mats now because they put on the newer versions, I don't have the problem. On the newer versions, they have the case fan on the bottom, which is actually nice because of the sound. Don't get me wrong, because these were like a prop jet when I got them. You could hear it was just droning through that small case fan they had on the side. But now, when you set it down, you don't want to block that vent, so you got to make sure there's a channel in there at least to draw the air. But the like the Harbor Freight floor mats are perfect for setting a printer on. At least that's what I would use.
Hang on, I'll show you guys something. I'll be right back.
Yeah, it was a cool idea. It just those balls are not stiff enough with the print to keep a big machine from sloshing around. It might work like maybe on an Ender, maybe because it's such a small footprint. But these bigger style machines, it's a lot of weight slapping around back and forth, so
Okay.
it just resonates.
See these things?
What's that?
They are just little black caps. You can print them. Put those under the feet.
Yeah, that'll work.
The rubber feet on the bottom of all the printers, They're kind of small as far as the area that they take up. Spread it out a little bit, and you don't have to worry about the printers sinking into the mats and restricting the airflow.
Well, yeah, as long as you got, because some people buy the thicker mats is the only reason why I'm saying. And if you don't have any airflow, they think it should be like settled in. I just don't want to tell anybody, hey, put them
Yeah.
on a mat and then burn up their printer.
Well, over time, after like 6 months, 8 months, you'll get these little divots. You can actually tell where the weight of the printer is actually kind of starting to weigh itself down into the mat. The artilleries aren't so bad, but just to the right of those two, there's a Wanhao there that weighs like 60 frickin' pounds.
Wanhao is like, isn't that a 1 ton option? That thing's like ridiculously heavy.
Yeah, time for me to dog on Wanhao a little bit. That printer to the right has the same build area as the artilleries do, and it's like twice as big and 3 times as heavy. A lot of unnecessary crap on it. Oh, you check the Discord. I've been waiting for it to show up. Let's see. There's general images help. Okay.
I've seen an image.
Okay, corn-fed. No, he's got it in the show off instead of in the help channel. Shame on you.
Oh, okay.
Let me go over here real quick.
I don't see why that wouldn't work.
I got it up on stream for everybody to take a look at right there.
Okay. It even looks like I'm looking at it on screen. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, there isn't any reason why something like that wouldn't work. No, corn-fed, no issues. That's everybody's gonna, it's gonna take a little bit getting used to figure out what's going on. It's like
And then Bolos put one up on the general for us.
there it is right there. Wait till you see the happy stuff I got going on with paints and airbrushing and all that other stuff to be announced in the future.
I need to get a bigger place. You're going to show me all these toys that I have to have. Killing me here, bro.
Well, you're not that far away. You're only like, what? It's about like a 9-hour trip.
Yeah, roughly.
Come hang out for the week and everything like that. The wife would probably appreciate getting you out of the house.
Now, you're starting to sink in on it, but now if you cut it into strips and ran it parallel and just had the opening underneath open, that would probably be just sufficient enough not to worry about it. I don't see that being a problem because then you still have your airflow and you wouldn't have to worry about it sinking in, and it could settle down and you wouldn't have to worry about it. Because I finally got rid of that airplane noise from both of mine by when I switched to the 32-bit boards. I just put the cooler over the actual steppers. But yeah, it's fun to be able to print stuff up for your other hobbies. As you can't see on cam because he's generous enough to cutting out my camera down here, which shows you all the junk that I've accrued over the years.
Yeah, any prints,
I'm like a hoarder.
any prints you got or anything like that, Bolos, just put them in the show off channel on the Discord server right there, and we'll throw them up as I see them.
I think one of my all-time favorites that I did is Rocket.
Mr. R.
And then, I mean, the filament on this, I got that silk copper from TTYT 3D. I mean, it's just gorgeous. I toned it down to give it more of a weathered look, but I mean, it just came out perfect. And that was on the first version of X1.
Yeah, Bullis, I'm all about that here too. Half of this place is filled up with models and airbrushing, painting, miniature terrain, gaming type stuff and everything like that. That's actually a whole nother stream
Whole other channel.
series. Yeah, a whole nother stream series and video series that I'm going to be doing. So
I pretend to do it. I do okay, but mine take a while to get done because I don't have an airbrush, so I gotta kind of fake it till I make it anyways.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
thank you, Mrs. Taz. I made him watch. I made him watch me eat pizza for a while. Ah. Yeah.
Hmm?
Yeah.
You don't like tacos?
Yeah. Except I
I'm gonna
can't.
cheat. I'm gonna cheat here for a minute because I need to have something in my stomach.
You want coffee? You want coffee up? There. Now Taz is hiding. Oh God, man, you don't want to see him doing that anyways. I'm joking, folks. Yeah, my throat's kind of ripped up today. Weather change and everything. Hey, everybody, how's the weather out your way? And are you guys enjoying the isolation, if you want to call it that? We're not going to use the C word on the stream.
Bulls did a nice job on those figurines. I like the paint job. And that's quality stuff, man. Like it.
Oh, cool. Taking a peek real quick here. Oh. I'll get some of these up in the show off real quick here. There we go.
Want to try this?
No, I'm
Oh,
good.
that's really sweet.
Oh, thank you.
I like the colors on that. I like the colors a lot.
Yeah, it's very vibrant.
Oh yeah. Somebody is a fan after my own heart. That's Nerdle-esque, isn't it? I've got some old 1990s Warhammer stuff that's still made both out of silver, pewter, and lead. I've got some Nerdle stuff that you would really appreciate, Bullis. We're gonna have some fun in some of these upcoming streams. I've got some old vintage models and stuff like that I'm gonna be showing off. Oh, the Gluttony Demon from Creature Caster. Okay. Yeah, that's very, if you're old school Warhammer like I am and everything like that, that's very Nurgle-esque. It's sweet. There's Cornfed's Yoda head there. I was almost expecting a baby Yoda. I don't know if anybody else feels the same way about it that I do. I love the little guy and everything like that, but I'm blaming that little shit on the reason Thingiverse took a dump.
I did the one with the Mandalorian and him in the carriage. I did that one.
Sweet. Hey, Mike. Whoa! I accidentally hit the lever on my chair. There we go. Demon dogs from Ghostbusters. Yeah, Bolus, I'll put another channel in there. This literally everything that you're looking at on the stream, I've completely recreated from another service between yesterday and today. So nice. Oh. Doing an Easter egg. Yeah, some of the prints that people were doing of the Easter eggs, they were putting stuff in the prints. I mean, I'd kind of be like a little bit of a bastard to my young kids too.
Can't open it.
There's $100 in it, but you got to figure out a way to crack into it, and I'd make the walls like 4 millimeters thick, and make a little cavity in the center, that will fit like $100 bill or something like that, and then do like 90% infill.
Right?
Yeah.
I was looking at it, I'm like, that doesn't seem like a really good idea, but okay.
Yeah, if you guys want, we'll, the idea with the daily streams and things like that is to hit the user show-off images and then the help images, in the situation, that, oh, what do we got there? In the event that somebody, needs some help with something and they can send up a printer or send up a picture of what is going on with their printer. Yeah, we can get an off-topic thing going. If people want to get crazy with it, I have no problem with that. We just gotta monitor from time to time, make sure that it's relatively safe for work. My channels are labeled as mature content, so we typically don't have to worry about that. It's just some people. We will get people eventually that are gonna break the rules. I'm just doing everything to kind of lay plans and be preventative about it ahead of time. Let me see what we got here. Dum, dum, dum. Oh, that is what I thought it was. Cool. Let me get this pulled up here. That is very grungy looking. If that's what you're going for, you have achieved greatness, my friend. Oh, there's some more. Oh, that's really cool. You're kind of all over the place with the different types of models that you do. Wow, that's really nice. Wow. You guys seeing that? Mike, see the printer in the lab cam? Is that the one you're asking about? If it is, those are not stock fans. Both of those, they're a dual port. I'll I'll have to upload the STL for that. It's a remix of one of Chan's models that he put out before and has since taken down. I'll get that after we're done with the stream tonight. I'll get that put up for you guys. Wow, the detail on that stuff is amazing. Yeah, I think you can see. I think you can see it there. No, that's definitely not a stock fan. That's a 5020 and dual ports on that. All of the sidewinders have the same one. Is that a face shield, Taz? Oh, he's still stuffing his face, probably.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it's a face shield.
Yeah, Bulls, that tank looks sweet. I follow a number of miniature and gaming channels and streams and things like that, and uh, the uh, the grunge, if you want to call it, that you got on that tank. I mean, people fight to get it to look that way. Infill pattern. Um, wow. Most of the time, concentric. Um, the Prusa slicer is a good example of a erotic or sexy infill. Yeah, Bolus, I call it weathering too, but uh, I consider it kind of realism. You know, weathering's kind of a yeah. That's another way to say it, I suppose. I just, especially war machines and things like that, tanks. You get into the fantasy gaming and stuff like that. You know, blood, guts, dried up bits of snot, and everything like that. Weathering doesn't totally apply, so I got used to just calling it grunge. Yeah, Warhammer's where it's at, man. And me, especially old school stuff. There are just some radical, happy, cool models that you just don't see anymore. Um, I kind of almost call it, for me, anyways, with Warhammer stuff, it was kind of a golden era of models. The stuff that they put out now, just not as pleased with. we've also got some 3D modelers in the community that blow some of these other companies out of the water. I'll actually have some of them guesting on the channel. I follow quite a few of them, and I buy into their Patreons and things like that. We'll be having some guest appearances by some of these people from time to time too. So, and you know, if any of you guys out there, if you know anybody, drag them into the channel, get them to like, follow, and subscribe and whatever. And hey, if they want to show their stuff off, I have no problem with it. That's kind of what this is all about.
Yeah, a lot of stuff now it's so much easier to do with the 3D printer. You used to have to make casts and molds and all that fun stuff.
There's still a little bit of work involved that you have to do. That's resin printing is also going to be another aspect of this channel too. We'll be kind of breaking things up a little bit, and that's also where I don't think I could fit all of this stuff into one day. And I'm not about to sit on my ass in front of the camera for a whole weekend covering all the different topics. I'll have to break it down to a few days during the week. I am going to get a refresh on the coffee. I'll be right back.
I remember having to make my own bucks and then do the molds. That was always a pain. Let's see. I need to get that fixed. Is that functional, Tricky? Best retraction speed for the X1. I like to run mine around 2 at about 25 millimeters per second. That's where I like to run it most of the time. I'm just asking because I'm actually on a board of guys that make functional ones. That's why I asked Tricky. Yeah, dude, guys doing all kinds of wild stuff with 3D printing. I was surprised. You're running 90 on the speed? I kind of slowed mine down. I was getting more stringy when it was higher. It might be my filament too, so I don't know. Hey, props are just as cool, Tricky. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, some of them, they got some really nice ones. This one's actually a prop. I'm not finished with it yet, but it's a prop. I figured red, white, and blue. But it's actually 1-to-1, so. You talking about my fans or his setup at the lab? Because that's his stuff. Mine, I got the sideways fan so I can see the hot end. And normally you don't want to cool the first layer because you want that to stick. So I'm usually kicking my fans on about the fourth or fifth layer. Because if you start cooling it while it's hitting the plate, you're not going to get the adhesion you want. It's just going to start peeling up or peeling and shrinking off. And you're going to get the raised corners. Yes, the hot end is the nozzle. It's the nozzle, the heat block, and the heat break is the whole hot end. That's how it breaks down. And there's my UPS again. It doesn't like the fluctuation. I'm going to plug that back into the normal line. Because that beep is annoying. It really is. I do, but then everybody hears it on the stream. It's like, okay, the one thing that you shouldn't hear. I'm trying to remember what speed I use. I haven't messed with it so long, I forget. Yeah, I thought I ran it slow. I usually run about 20 for my first layer because I want to make sure it gets down. I know it's slow, but I just prefer it that way because you're not going to get the project finished any faster with your first layer not sticking. So I run it around 20 just to get it down. Yeah, I know, beep again. Sorry. I will take it off the printers.
You've been saying that for a week.
I know. I just have been printing all this PPE stuff. I haven't had a chance to stop, and I don't want to reset everything because once I unplug it, then I got to reset all the pies and all the printers, and it's like, man, I don't want to reset all that right now.
There's some more show-offs there.
That's cool. It does a nice job of weathering on it. I like it.
What in the heck am I looking at there?
Hey, what is that?
Kind of creeping me out a little bit too.
I'm trying to figure that one out. If you're going to go for a diffuser, I'd say I'd use something like a translucent type filament. It's LEDs, so you don't have to worry about heat. So you could use almost PETG or you could use PLA. It wouldn't be a big deal. But I get the translucent stuff, and then I do no info. If you don't want to get those weird funky lines. Now, if you're looking to get the funky lines in your, I mean, it kind of looks neat on some lighting applications, but if you're not looking for that, make sure you don't put any info in it.
Here's tricky stuff here.
Predator leg. Okay, that makes sense now that you tell me what it is.
Looks like something I need at the front door here.
Yeah, but you want a functional one. That's a prop.
Shh. We can make it all functional.
We
We
were
have the,
talking about that while you were gone, so
yeah.
I was showing off my fake Glock.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, blue and white.
Red, white, and blue.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna go with translucent. It's a little bit transparent, but it's not a lot. I'm not finished with it yet, though.
Hobby Howie, 99% of the time I'm just using a good old PLA Plus from eSun, Sunlu. I've got some Tians here, which I don't really recommend because they haven't been very consistent. Let's see what else. Overture.
Yeah, I use a lot of Overture.
I used to use a lot of Hatchbox, especially their wood filament. Now, their wood filament compared to just about any of the other brands of wood filament out there it's right at the top of the heap. That's always been super consistent.
Yeah, I like their wood filament. I'll agree with that one. The silks, I like the silk colors, and I like the TTYT 3D silks because I think they just seem to lay nice. No matter, I mean, it's really hard to mess it up.
It's funny that you call it that. I have a different name for it. Yeah, it's TTY, here, but I call it the titty filament. Well, why not? Hey, it's
Well, I'm just so they know what to actually look for instead of putting in Amazon titty filament. Now they're going to get what they want back. I'm not sending people to porno sites or rickrolling them, okay?
right.
We're not doing that.
Well, we can do 3D printer porn all day. I mean,
And actually, I like a lot of 3D Solutech stuff too. I mean, I've had a lot of good luck with that brand too, and the colors are consistent. So I can order a batch months apart, and they'll be really close. It'd be hard to tell. You know, I know they get the maker box thing, and they give you enough to make a cube. I mean, I don't know.
thoughts on the new Ender? Yeah, we were just talking about that the other day.
Well, if you don't have one, you can't compare it. Let's be clear about that.
Yeah. As far as
I've
what
seen
they
a couple videos.
as far as what they have released informationally already, why? It's still got a frickin' Bowden on it. You're getting a slightly better LCD screen.
That's about it.
And some fancy belt tensioners. Ooh.
Right. Nothing you couldn't print yourself and save a couple $100. I'd still go with a Genius. I mean, that's the way I would look at it. I mean, you can always buy another screen. That's the way I look at it. I mean, if you want a different screen or you want the screen style like they got, I'm sure I'll be able to pick it up and program it for what you want to do.
Oh, Hobby Howie, the Hatchbox wood. Oh, it's awesome stuff. Let me get a print up to show you real quick here. Once you get that stuff dialed in, you'll take it on dates every weekend. Hang on here.
Yeah, it actually looks like real wood. It turns out nice. I actually did a Groot somewhere. You got Groot? Sweetheart?
Huh?
Do you have Groot? Not the minifig, the big one.
Um,
There we go. Here's one of the.
The camera needs to be up though. There you go.
I might have put them away with the Christmas.
Oh, okay. But yeah, it turns out nice. Yeah, but it kind of turned out like garbage.
We didn't.
In my opinion, I did better work, so I don't want to show that one off. She's trying to show off my failures.
Oh, I think it's good.
At least what I consider my failures.
A little bit of a shameless plug there. Yeah, the wood filament's awesome.
And it stains too. It stains
Yes.
really nice.
Yes. You can sand it.
It is like a real wood. Like when you're staining it, it absorbs it into the I mean, it weathered up real nice for. I did a Groot, but I don't know where it's at. So.
Yeah, all the other wooden pieces that I have are in a different part of the studio that I'm not going to be able to get to right away. Yeah, I'm kind of bouncing in and out a little bit, folks. I'm talking with a couple of artillery people right now. Trying to get some people to show up on the stream. It's only about 9 o'clock in the morning in China right now, so.
I don't know if it smells like wood.
When it's printing, it sure does.
Yeah, I'll give you that one. But after it's done, it still smells like plastic to me for some reason. It's a copy of the Maker Base TFT. So it's a direct pretty much recreation. I don't want to use the C word.
Well, artillery's never hidden the fact that they use their own versions of stuff. Yeah, there was bacon filament, beer.
You think they'd have stayed in business with that? Who doesn't like the smell of bacon? I think your little guy wants to let the big one out.
Ooh.
Yes, the Yorkie. He wants to let the big dog out so he can attack her. Because he has Napoleon syndrome. He thinks he's a big dog until he gets run over by the big dog.
Well, I love Angus too. A lot of his early stuff got me through some of the learning curves when I was first learning about some of the stuff. I mean, it's kind of like a joint adventure for a while there. And, you know, today, not everybody will have this opinion. That's why it's an opinion and it's mine. Angus is one of the only streamers left that I still respect. I'm not going to get into any of the other names or anything like that. I just don't like the directions that they've taken with their streams. So we'll leave it at that. But yeah, I'd be more than happy to have Angus or anybody come on as a guest. I can have as many guests as we have bandwidth for and pop them into Windows.
Cubs are Sox fans, so I'm a Sox fan, but the house is divided because the wife is a Cubs fan.
And on my end, Cubs and Sox means something to do with Bears, or having or not having my socks on during questionable activities. So I'm not a sports person, not by a long shot. So
Yeah, well, I'm a South Sider, so you have to be a Sox fan, just the way it is. The only reason why the wife gets away with it is because her dad worked for Wrigley's, which was Cubs. So we give them leeway.
yeah, Mike, he asked the question, do you guys use the 1.19 Marlin Advanced? Yes. The dude that wrote that rocks. He's like a god in my view.
I don't know. Sometimes he's a little over the top for me.
Oh yeah, he can be an arrogant prick sometimes, but I mean,
I don't, unfortunately, because I upgraded further along than the basic boards, so I'm into the Marlin 2.0 and up.
Mike, I'm the guy that wrote the Marlin Advanced, so
I hope he uses it.
yeah, I use it. I use it on all my machines.
Yes, I have a good woman because she asked me how I wanted my tacos. She does take good care of me. She was pretty and could cook. Couldn't let her get away.
Oh, how do you do that pause for multicolor printing? You can run processes in Simplify 3D. That's the only way I've ever approached it. The automated system that people want, we can't get on these
It
printers.
skips over it. You're not going to get it. If you're running like Octoprint or even off the TFT, you can get away with it. You can pause on your print, but you have to manually do it. And then you're going to manually swap and be careful. Or what you could do in lieu of that, if you wanted to avoid and you want to be able to do where you could switch and not put it on your print again, you could slice two separate files. So what you do is you slice whatever your favorite slicer is. You slice the original file, but on the NG code, make sure you leave your hot plate going and your hot end going. And then when it ended, it would stay on. And then you load up your next file at that layer height and do it. But the M600 is not going to work because the TFT is based on the original maker base, which I want to say is what, 2.5 years old now?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's getting up there. Oh,
It's
actually older than
never
that,
worked the M600, and they never worked out the bugs. It just skips right over it. It's like a mini computer. It blocks it. Even if you use an Octoprint, it blocks it. It's just one of those. That's why I went into the upgrade, because I still love the printer, but I was going to switch to display anyway. So I decided, well, I might as well get 32-bit while I'm digging around in here. So I got two 32-bit boards to play with. But you don't have to go that far. You could just switch the screen. I mean, you could just, you can get the TFT 35 and just plug. It's pretty much plug and play. You have to make a tweak in the in Marlin, but other than that, it's not that hard. Yeah, sometimes it'll do that. It's almost like it acknowledged it for half a second, and then it goes right back to doing what it was doing. Let's throw the dog out.
Hey, I'll throw you.
But yeah, I've done it manually, and then I've also done it where I've caught it while it's going, and so I know it's an odd thing, but I know where it's going to be at the layer height I want. I'll snip it, and then I'll start running the next filament afterwards. That's what I did originally when I didn't have a different TFT for it. I mean, there's ways of doing it. It's just I don't like having to babysit. I like the fact that when I hit now with the way I got it, it hits the code, it stops for me, it waits for me to reload filament, and then I can just go on with my print and just hit resume. But unfortunately, with that TFT, it's not going to work.
Yeah, hobby, I know. I think when I walk past there, I check them. I'll go pull them off of there shortly.
It's not that bad of an install. It really isn't. My only problem, the screen they have now on my version, that whole back plate isn't cut out for the TFT. So my version 1 and version 2 have a little sliver. And I can't find my Dremel at the moment to cut it open, so I had to just print a case for them. Because I was too lazy to try and hand saw that case to make the splay fit the way I want. And then the other one, I got bored and I threw my old Ender one on there just because it was quick and easy. And I've seen guys also just add on a regular LCD, and somehow it works. It works like a dual would. They still have the touchscreen on, and then that, and it still works. I'm not exactly sure how that happens, because I know if I leave it on the touchscreen, it generally skips over the M600 commands. If I put it back to the LCD, it works right. What was that? Yeah, like I said, I got in with the 1.3. The 1.4 came out right after I ordered it. So I was a little bit miffed with that. But that's kind of how they roll. It was like they had put out the 1.3 because I had bought the Mini for one of my Enders, and I liked it. So I went with the Mini for one of my Enders, and I was like, well, if I'm going to upgrade, I'll try the SKR. Now, the one directly behind me, that one actually is running the MKS S-Gen L board. I was hoping it would have the same area for the LEDs to work, but it didn't. I don't have a resin printer yet, but I know Earl has a few that he's played with. So when he comes back, he can talk about resin printing. I'm waiting. Not because I want to wait, just because of financial reasons. Yeah, it's always the way. It's like, you wait and try and get a good deal on, this board or that toy, and as soon as you get it, it isn't like 5 minutes later they come out with a newer one. It's like, really? Thanks for that. You didn't test out the Mars yet, huh? I've heard good things about it. Yeah, PC parts. That's a given. Give it 5 minutes and you're outdated. I got sucked down that rabbit hole back in the day too. Always trying to buy the most newest thing you can get your hands on, so you wouldn't get overburdened. And then video cards went crazy after that. And then when the whole Bitcoin thing started, you couldn't get a video card at a decent price. That got annoying. They still kind of been sitting up there too, which it's like, okay. I've seen they come out with a wash station that's nice for like a package deal with one of the resin firms. I can't remember who it is. I thought that was kind of a neat idea. Yeah, he did a nice job on painting it. I think it was really well done.
There we go.
Well, to me, anything Prusa makes is going to be overpriced. So I'm just going to be honest. I'm not a Prusa fanboy. I'm the anti-Prusa. I mean, I get it. If you want something that's going to be supported and already dialed in for you, that's the printer you would go with. But that to me is, it's out of the realm of being realistically priced for what you get. You could get 2X1s for one Prusa and have all kinds of build space. I just think it's overpriced. Especially now.
I'm still working on Elegoo. They contacted me before, and I turned them down. I may be looking at getting a Saturn in to test. Right now, I'm probably gonna get a couple of the Mars Pros in. I'm liking the green one that they came out with. Prusas, yeah, overpriced for what it does, and it doesn't do anything any different or anything special that the other printers do. Oh, I'm not anti-Prusa. As a matter of fact, Prusa is...
That was my comment.
Oh, yeah. I would say Frozen is probably another one of the ones out there that are solid printers. I'm not a fan of Anycubic. Their Photon series, they were an early adopter after we made the Wanhao D7 popular, and kind of what started this whole mess. Yeah, Tricky, there's the Anycubic Photon, and then there's Frozen, which is a different company altogether.
Yep. Like I said, you're the one who can speak to it more than I can, so.
Oh yeah, I'm all over resin here. You'll see that in the future. Yeah, I saw earlier in the chat, Tricky, you said you've got you've got a Mars there that you haven't played with yet? Shame on you. It's an awesome printer, dude. how would Morgan Freeman say that? If the shoe fits, lace that bitch up and wear it. Hey, thanks for stopping by, Javi.
Have a good one, Hobby.
If you haven't liked or subscribed, please do. It helps the channel out. I'm trying to get our Twitch subscribers up to 50 followers so I can open up some new features for the people that'll be coming in on the streams on a regular basis. Take care, man. Oh, there goes my chair again. Holy crap. I just went dwarf status. Oh. There we go. Oh. Yeah, let me grab those prints off of the printer.
I keep hearing crazy noises from mine. Yeah, I'm going to open up 50 accounts. Later, Tricky. Thanks for stopping in, man. Hey, baby, what's up? You gonna come on the stream with me? No? What? I know you don't like when I'm like boxed in. It's okay, no one can see you. You can come here, it's alright. Big baby. Okay, you're starting to hurt. Big pause. The cloth tape is actually bookbinding tape. You can get it off of Amazon. It's like $13 for a roll of 2-inch wide, and it's bookbinding tape. It's not gaffer's tape. Gaffer's tape's a bit thicker. Bookbinding tape is thin cloth. I used to have a link, but they've been sold out in my section for a while. But any black bookbinding tape will be the exact tape they put on here. Yeah, that's why I bought a whole roll of it. I think I got it. Give me 1 second.
There we go.
Grab it.
To show you some up close detail here.
Oh. Yeah, it's just a roll of bookbinding tape.
Just to give you an idea what a dialed in Sidewinder will do.
So it's really thin stuff. I think she's mad at me.
Yeah, I'll take pictures of this stuff after. Yeah, the The detail, this is at 0.12 layer height. If I can get it to focus.
What layer height did you say it was?
0.12. 012.
Ah. Is that in the profiles? I don't remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the default. Default.
I'll have to check that out because I had something I wanted to print small. This was not working.
Oh yeah.
Where are you when I run into these problems, man?
Screwing around.
You're usually sleeping when I have the problem, I'll be honest. I was fighting with a print, and it was one of those. In fact, it's. I don't know if it's still going to do it or not. This is the print. It just came out like garbage.
Yeah, try the profiles by that awesome dude.
Now you're pushing it. Just saying.
I know.
Yeah, I didn't think, obviously, but I don't normally print really tiny stuff. And someone asked for something, and I was like, "Yeah, I can do it." And then I did, and I was like, "No, I can't do it." It didn't turn out well.
My whole drive early on with this FDM, anyways, until we started getting resin printers that I can do this stuff easily with. My whole drive with FDM was pushing the limits to get it to the point where it could feasibly print stuff. I mean, you know, just taking the wooden box right there. I know people have problems with stringing on wood. I don't have that issue with this. That's, you know, you can get these incredible high details with FDM. You just have to learn the machines.
Well, be patient and learn adjusting. Yeah, that does help.
Bullets, yes, those are all 0.4 nozzles. You ought to see what I can pull off if I put a 025 nozzle on the machines. Which, I've got a Genius that I'm going to be doing that to here pretty soon. I mean, for, you know, scale. God, what do I got here for scale? Well, I don't have small hands. You know, I don't have small hands, but I mean, that is pretty tiny. That's only about 18 millimeters wide. It's like about 20
Bigger
millimeters.
than a quarter?
Yeah, not by much though.
Right. That's not saying just bigger than a quarter. That was my guess from looking at it.
Yeah.
I'm a very visual person.
Oh yeah, oh hell. You can't, unless you know that this was printed, if we had some ladies on the channel that we could talk into, you know, some 3D printed wood coconuts, getting them to wear them, I'm sure they'd sound pretty cool too. Okay. Is that about 20?
34 on the law.
30?
34.
Oh, 34 and then 20 on, let go. And then 20 on the...
27.
Oh. Yeah, so confirmed, the little brown box is like 30 on the wide and 25-ish on the short, but still that's nice and tiny for the detail that popped out on it.
Yeah, it came out nice.
How long? Oh, 2.5 hours almost. Not too bad. I think I'm gonna take a break here. My throat's like really fried out. Probably gonna take a break from the stream for a little bit. Maybe I don't know, maybe about a half hour or 45-minute break, and then maybe come back on for a little while. I want to check a few things.
Mug.
Oh.
5mm mug.
Oh yeah, just for reference, a little 5mm mug printed on the X1. I've got some smaller stuff. I've even got some single feathers.
That's ridiculous, man.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for showing up, Corn. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, we're gonna end up taking a break for. Oh, how many streams?
We're up to like 5 now.
Well, as far as official ones,
Not real ones though.
two, actual real streams, and then probably about a half a dozen testing this, goofing around with this, testing this. But we're gonna have a weekly schedule for like Fridays and or Saturdays for the big ones, and then probably every day on and off, just kind of on a random schedule, just hopping on for a couple hours and shooting the shit with you guys. I mean, this is actually pretty cool and pretty fun. There's a lot of people that have questions, need some help with stuff, and just want to trade some ideas and things like that.
It's an easier format to answer somebody's question too. I mean,
yeah, especially with the help board and stuff like that we've got put up. I intend on fully utilizing that, so it'll help a lot more people. Plus, you can always go back to it for reference.
right.
So after the stream's over with, it's already on YouTube again. It's already going to be on Twitch, so it'll be there for reference. So. Definitely, we're going to dive deep into things like maintenance, actually even assembly. Yeah, we're gonna dive into all aspects of it, probably multiple times too. So, yep.
We're gonna drill it into your head so you know it and live it.
Yeah.
Just saying.
We're going to be doing some polls and stuff like that too, so I'm going to kind of leave it up to you guys. To kind of help with the format, because we're doing this for you guys. So a lot of what you have to say about it is going to influence on kind of what some of the topics end up being and things like that. Keep your Z-Rod clean, Corn. Gotta keep your Z-Rod clean.
Safety third and fix it later.
Sure. Yeah. Okay, folks, for anybody watching, appreciate you coming by. I definitely need to take a break for a little bit. My throat's kind of fried out right now. I got to see about nursing it a little bit. Might come back on for a little bit more of a stream for an hour or two a little bit later. I keep my fingers crossed on it because that's my intent. But as always, I'm going to throw this up in chat.
Subject to change without notice.
Anybody that knows me.
Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. See ya.
That comes up as a Fen Possible trademark. We'll talk to you guys a little bit later. Thanks for showing up.